Welcome back and thank you for staying with us all the way. I still have with me in the studio Babajide Kolade-Otitoju and Mayor Akinpelu. Now let's go to the final lap of the program, which is the Journalist Hangout Weekend Special, which is on the contributions of the Nigerian Army's elite Armoured Corps to the war against terror. Babajide Kolade-Otitoju was at the theater command of Operation Hadin Kai in Maiduguri, Borno State, where he spoke with the commander of the Armoured Corps of the Nigerian Army, Major General Sani Ahmed, on efforts taken by his men to ensure that battle tanks used in prosecuting the war are kept moving. Let's share the story with you.
For the past 14 years, Nigeria has been involved in asymmetric warfare against Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP. ISWAP is an offshoot of the Boko Haram group led by Abubakar Shekau, a loyal disciple of the founder of the group, Muhammad Yusuf, who was killed in detention in 2009. Due to Shekau's perceived high-handedness towards members of the terrorist group and a sometimes unprovoked killing of civilians, including Muslims, the Islamic State, which Shekau had earlier pledged loyalty to, removed him as leader of the group and installed in his place Abu Musab al-Banawi, one of the sons of Muhammad Yusuf, in the year 2016. Armored warfare is very important to any land army. The elite Nigerian Army's Armoured Corps has been doing its best to maintain its armored fighting vehicles, its weapons system, as well as communication equipment. Maintenance of its array of armored fighting vehicles enables the Corps to sustain its core responsibilities of locating, identifying, and destroying the enemy using rapid fire and maneuver. Fueled by foreign funding, the terrorist groups have not ceased to wage a war on Nigeria and its people. Their brand of asymmetric warfare has led to the death of more than 40,000 Nigerians, destruction of communities, military hardware, and displacement of millions of people who now take refuge in internally displaced people's camps. Asymmetric warfare is difficult, delicate, and complicated, but thanks to the professionalism, sacrifice, and superior hardware of the Nigerian Armed Forces, victory is no longer far away.
The newly procured armored personnel carrier of the Nigerian Army.
To win a war, you need an armada of game-changing weapons, tanks, and armored vehicles to charge through the enemy's fortress. In short, the value of tanks in warfare cannot be overemphasized. Recently, I visited the headquarters of the Operation Hadin Kai, which coordinates Nigeria's war against insurgency. It is located in Memalari Barracks, Maiduguri, Borno State capital.
We have.
I met the new commander of the Nigerian Army's elite Armoured Corps, Major General MS Ahmed.
This one, ST1.
This was just a day before he assumed duty at the Armoured Corps headquarters in Bauchi. He threw some light on the tanks.
The Nigerian Army member 2 tank, and they were inducted into the Nigerian Army in the 80s. We have used them in many places for battle in Liberia, Sierra Leone. Yeah, we have used them, and at the inception of this insurgency, they were the main tanks we were having, though in a very bad shape. The VHU here, most of the repairs are carried out by the personnel of the Nigerian Army Armoured Corps, which is headed by Major Mohammed Narogo.
General Ahmed explains the role of the Armoured Corps as principal offensive unit of the Army.
You know, the main combat arms of the Nigerian Army are the infantry and the Armoured Corps. The armor is the principal offensive tool of the Nigerian Army. At the inception of the insurgency, especially towards 2014, the insurgents and the terrorists, they have some control of some areas. So the tanks were inducted into the battle to break their will. So the principal offensive weapon that the Nigerian Army used have been the tanks.
He proceeded to show me other variants of armored tanks. This is a main battle tank, the Chinese-built ST-1, inducted into the theater of war in 2020.
Two of the Chinese-made tanks, the ST-1 and the VT-4, were inducted into the theater in 2020. You can see it's on wheel. It's very fast. The ST-1 fires similar weapons with the Vickers. It's with 105mm gun, you know, with variants of ammunition.
The Army also has a good number of multi-terrain reconnaissance vehicles dreaded by the Boko Haram terrorists. One of them is the French-made Pahad armored vehicles. Its low noise level allows it to go as close as possible to the enemy without detection.
I think the Boko Haram fears the VBL more than any other vehicle. As this as small as you see this one, they fear it more because it's highly flexible, and usually we're not bugged by terrain. It goes into anywhere and come out, and the shape is done such that hardly will the RPG, the anti-tank, pierce this vehicle. At least I've been engaged twice with the RPG inside it, and I know it didn't penetrate. Yes, that was in 2015. These are the Panhards. They are French made too.
For some of his armored tanks, like Vickers and the Scorpion, the engine parts are no longer readily available in the market.
To change them, just like the way we are doing the Vickers. Yes, that's the target we gave ourselves. You can see that we have already fixed the engine, do some modification on it.
But by dint of inventiveness, the Nigerian Army's Armoured Corps have found a solution to that problem. The engineers of the Armoured Corps simply keep these fighting machines rumbling, thanks to the steer engine.
We have to, on our own, decided that this is what is likely to be best for us, and that is what we are doing. So we're trying to see if we can, since these engines are giving us problems, we have gotten another type of engine, which is what we're experimenting now.
General Ahmed introduced the T-72 main battle tank to me. The Russian-built war machine was inducted into the theater in 2014. It offers protection to troops against explosives and anti-aircraft guns. Despite initial maintenance challenges, the Army has found a way to keep the T-72 going.
These things you are seeing, they are anti-explosives. For example, you will see that they have fired an AA gun on it here, and it only exploded here without reaching the main body of the tank.
Like a buffer.
They are. This particular one you're seeing, we decided to repair it changing the engine, you know, overhauling some.
He demonstrated to me that the main battle tank, with awesome power, is still very much useful. In 6 months, 80% of the Scorpion tanks have been revived. General Sani tells me what to expect from him. As EMS-man of the Nigerian Army Armoured Corps, he is happy because young officers still want to belong to the Armoured Corps.
We will keep upgrading what we have, keep repairing them. Maintenance is the key word here. The role we're supposed to play with what we have, we will play it, and we'll play it very well. As it is now, we remain the elite corps of the Nigerian Army. We are highly technical. We are proud of our profession. We are a proud, in fact, you know, we call ourselves combat arm of decision. We decide the direction in which the war goes. And the young officers are always proud to have that.
He spoke about the Panhard armored vehicles and why they are special.
Before they know, this vehicle approach them, they catch them unaware, therefore they fear the vehicle more than anything.
What do
they call it kiriku.
It's the only vehicle they've given name. You know?
This armored vehicle will look small, but the general says it is this vehicle that the insurgents fear the most because of his maneuverability, because of his self-recovery capability, and because of the protection that it also gives the troops. The general has been fired at with an RPG while driving this, and to the glory of God, is alive to tell the story. For the next day's work at the maintenance unit, the Army decided to sew for me a tank suit. Courtesy of the elite Armoured Corps of the Nigerian Army, preparatory to my trip in the Russian-built T-72 main battle tank. I'm going to have a ride in it. Major Narogo, double winner of the Chief of Army Staff Special Medal, as well as the Chief of Defense Staff Special Medal for the work that he does in the engineering unit of the Nigerian Armoured Corps. Major Obaka Narogo explains the repair work on the Panhard ML-60 and the Scorpion tank.
It's a recce vehicle too, and it is been equipped with a 76mm gun. You know its categories. We have the 60. When we talk of the 60, you know that is the type of the bombs they fired. Now it is a 60mm caliber, and equally equipped with the small grenade dischargers and Quasial machine gun.
Thanks to the industry of the Armoured Corps, the Scorpion tank and the Eagle main battle tank are being revived to boost the Army's fighting capability. The Eagle tasted battle in Liberia in the 1990s and had been parked and disused for so long. It is now set to be reintegrated into battle.
Over 50 to 60 units of these vehicles have been revived back through the pounding and there is support of the theater commander, Army headquarters, and the nation in general. In the Armoured Corps now, this is the center of our repair.
The men here are constantly thinking outside the box.
This is one of the units engine of Eagle MBT tank. Look at how big it is. Basically because some of the accessories are military control accessories, which maybe when you remove them, you will see the engine in a other way is somehow as not big as unique as it is now.
This is a Panhard light armored vehicle of the Armoured Corps of the Nigerian Army. It was in a bad state, but it's been repaired and ready for battle. Back to the open space near the maintenance unit of the headquarters of Operation Hadin Kai. The armored tanks are ready to go. It is also time for me to take a ride in my favorite main battle tank of the Nigerian Army, the T-72 Russian tank, which is reputed for the big hits it scored, especially in 2014 and 2015 during the war against Boko Haram terrorists. With the consistent research by men of the Nigerian Army Armoured Corps, more and more armored tanks abandoned for years are set to be revived, giving the Army an undoubted edge over the enemies of Nigeria. Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, Maiduguri, Borno State.
Well done, BKO. Interesting report there. So tell us more, especially those areas that were not captured in that report.
Well, I think that generally our troops are doing well, not just on the war front, but in terms of repairs of weapons. Because, look, it's not easy, because these are military-grade weapons. There is difficulty in bringing their spares into our country. So we had to look inwards. And you can see Major Abubakar Mohammed Narugo, double winner of the Chief of Army Staff Medal, the Chief of Defense Staff Medal. He's been in the thick of work ensuring that those weapons are constantly repaired, and he gets tremendous support, from his bosses. We have General Laya too, one of the best engineers in the army. So the army is constantly, reinventing itself because a lot of those weapons are not available. So you can imagine the Eagle main battle tank that we last used in Liberia, they are able to revive those weapons using other engines, because the engines, they got the stair engine, not the original engine of the armored tank, but they got an engine that could work, which now gives us the edge. You can see that area is almost silent now. Boko Haram has been terribly dealt with in the northeast, and it's because of the quality of work that these officers are doing. And I'm really, really proud of them. I know that only God can reward our troops for their sense of industry and the sacrifice that they make. Until you go out with our troops, you won't know some of the dangers that they face. I've gone out with Nigerian troops and to difficult, dangerous places, and I can tell you the morale is high and they are always ready to sacrifice for their country.
Mayor.
Yes, I also want to commend the troops for their professionalism, for their sacrifice, for their hard work that they are doing, because it's not easy to fight terrorists, especially terrorists that are faith influenced, because it becomes more difficult when you believe that you are fighting a just cause and that to die is an honor. So, but they've done very well protecting our people, especially in the northeast area. So I want to commend them again. I'm also impressed with what I've seen, because it's not only enough for you to have weapons. You must be able to have the human resources to be able to do the engineering work needed. And when you see young officers, engineers, who are using their ingenuity to make sure that the tanks keep rolling, is something very, very commendable, because there's a limit to what you can buy. But there's no way you will not suffer losses at the war front and all that. So you need people who can fix these tanks. And for us to have young people who have distinguished themselves, I'm sure that they have the capacity to be able to do that. It's very commendable.
So finally, before we do, with this great effort and the president now asking for synergy and intelligence sharing among military agents or security agencies, how important is this?
Yes, the good thing I can say about this present crop of service chiefs is that they've been working together. Yes, we had that problem in the past, but the current crop of service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, Rabo, they've been really working hard together, and you see that synergy working. General MS Ahmed was the deputy to Christopher Musa, the theater commander of Operation Hadin Kai, at the time I visited, but today is the commander of the Infantry Corps, while his former number 2, General MS Ahmed, is now commander of the Armoured Corps with headquarters in Bauchi. People like Dangiwa Umar used to be there. They are all. The Armoured Corps was a very well-respected unit in the Nigerian Army. It produced people like General Babangida, Olunin, and the rest of them. So it's, I think even Shashaini, who was governor for your state. So the Armoured Corps, the good news is that the Armoured Corps is rumbling again. Their main battle tanks have been fixed. The reconnaissance vehicles have been fixed. So we have now the capacity, especially in ground warfare, to deal decisively with the enemies of our country, thanks to the good work that these officers and men are doing. And let's not also forget General Izugu, who designed an MRAP as a mine resistant and ambush protected vehicle. It's a good thing for me. I'm proud as a Nigerian that we designed our own MRAP, and it has stood the test of time in the theater of war. So we want to see improvement across the board in the army, and we want President Buhari did a lot. He bought a lot of weapons for the army. When you go to Maiduguri and see the weapons, you open your mouth in bewilderment. He did his best. We want that to also be continued by President Tinubu. Let him continue to buy these game-changing weapons for the army, because even long after Boko Haram is gone, there could be another threat, and we must be ready to surmount any obstacle.
Mayor, in 30 seconds, let me have your final take.
Yes, I want to I want to commend former President Buhari for keeping the military. I also want to advise the new president to continue on this path, make sure that there is enough resources for the military to be able to do their job, and them to continue to harp on the fact that there must be a synergy among all the main security units.
Thank you very much, BKO. Thank you very much, Mayor Akipelu.